Welcome to the Best Sports Betting Podcast, where we'll talk about reviews, previews, tips, and all things betting related. Brought to you by bestsportsbetting.co.za. Now, on to our hosts.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcasts, powered by PlayerBets. And today I'm going to be flying solo again. Simon is on a bit of an extended break. He's currently doing some work in South Africa, so it's a bit tough to get him on during the day, but once he returns back to the States, it should be business as usual. So you guys are stuck with me for a little bit. Right, let's have a look at some of the weekend results from Super Rugby. Bit of an interesting weekend. I'm sure many of you were a bit surprised by some of the results there. Some results weren't that surprising, going as planned, should I say. But let's break down the Hurricanes versus Reds game, where there was a massive plus 29.5 point handicap on the Hurricanes, which they obviously didn't cover. Narrowly won that game, 38-34. Didn't have a position on that game. I did take a first half unders bet, which, well, as you can guess, got horribly smashed. I think I got 37.5 or something like that. Ended up scoring 44 points. Second half was a much quieter affair. I wanted to get an in-play bet on the unders there, but the bookie I was using at the time was not accepting my bet. So that was a bit frustrating. And not too much to say into that game, about that game, other than the fact that the Reds played out of their socks and the Hurricanes kind of played down to the Reds' level. Not going to read too much into it. Hopefully it moves the handicaps a bit this week for their respective matches. Then the Sunwolves beat the Stormers. That was quite a big upset. Stormers started the game pretty well, up at half time, and then just didn't bother scoring in the second half. 2 penalties, and Sunwolves deserved winners there. I can't quite remember exactly what the spread was there. I think it was about 14 or so, and it's always good to back these underdogs. I've done it with the Sunwolves in the past. Stormers on a great travelling side, so it's good to go against them. Then we had another close win for the Crusaders when they narrowly beat the Blues 32-24. They scored a monstrous amount, scored almost 30 points in the first half, and then just completely took their foot off the pedal in the second half, allowing the Blues a sniff, but they didn't end up getting in. Then we had the Waratahs beating the Highlanders, probably the upset of the weekend. I say that because the Highlanders were 7-point favourites, if I can remember correctly, but a very stupid red card gifted the Waratahs that game. I don't know if you guys saw that game. I'm sure most of you did, but it was just a absolutely mind-boggling decision that he made. I mean, he went up for a kick, or for a kick, and the ball came down, caught it in the air. For some reason, he decided then to stick out his leg and clip the chap in I think it was the face of the chest. Just mindless. I mean, I can understand, okay, I can't understand, but I can understand it somewhat if you're going up for it and the other dude catches it and you're kind of salty about it and you end up kicking him in the face because he's got the ball. But not if you've got the ball. You've got the ball. You've won, you've won the aerial battle. What are you doing? I mean, he's not going to tackle you in the air. That's illegal. So, absolutely mind-boggling that. Then with the Sharks in a narrow win over the Chiefs, I did like the Sharks there. They ended up winning 28-24. I think they did not cover the spread. I think the Chiefs were about 7 or 8 point dogs in that game, surprisingly. But a good win for them there. Then the Lions just smashing the Brumbies. And that, of course, was when the infamous Ashwin Willemse walkout happened on Supersports. I don't really have an opinion on that at the moment. I'm sure there's some reasoning behind it. I've read a lot of bad things about him. I've read a lot of bad stuff about Mallet, but it's mostly Mallet apparently that's been egging him on in the studio. I think poor Nas is the one stuck in the middle. But once again, I'm reserving judgment because I simply don't know. I'm going to have to wait until more details emerge on that story before I pick a side. It's difficult to pick a side because at this time, because I mean the guy was obviously upset about something, but he could also at the same time just be someone who gets upset about that thing. He didn't lose his cool, which was nice. He just said, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore. Didn't shout, didn't swear, didn't get aggressive. He just walked out. So I think he handled himself pretty well in the walkouts. It wasn't like that don't touch me on my studio guy who absolutely lost his stuff. What's his name again? Mr. Fasaki. That was hilarious, and that's an example of how you shouldn't lose your cool on live TV. And then we had the Jaguares convincingly beating the Bulls 54-24. Another bet that I liked. Jaguars are looking pretty good this year, guys. They've won a lot of games. They're sitting pretty in their respective conference as well. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what actually happens. You know, they're sitting 7th at the moment in the South African conference. They're one behind the Lions. So they're the second best team in South Africa behind the Lions. So I'm sure the Sharks aren't too happy about that. So we have to see if they keep this form up. They're on quite a winning streak at the moment as well. I think it's 5 games that they've won on the trot now. Let me just quickly pull that up. 5 games on the trot. So they've beaten sides like the Bulls, they've beaten the Chiefs away from home, they've beaten the Blues away from home, the Brumbies, the Rebels. So they had a great time in Australia and a good time in New Zealand. Now they're having a great time at home as well. So we're going to be looking at backing them in the coming weeks. But yeah, so that was last week's rugby. Let's move into this week's rugby. We've got the pick of the matches on, I believe it's Friday morning. It's the Crusaders versus Hurricanes game. Now, Hurricanes are slight favourites in this game. Rightfully so. 2.5 points. I think that's a pretty decent margin if you ask me. I do quite like the Crusaders at that price. I'm not going to be getting overly involved, but you know, the Hurricanes have struggled a bit recently, especially coming off that game against the Reds. But then again, they did sort of play down to the opposition's weakness. But just looking at the two sides, I mean, they're both on incredible winning streaks. I don't think the Hurricanes have lost a game this season. There was maybe that loss to the Bulls early on, or was it? Yeah, it was the Bulls. I think that they lost to early on, and they've just won since then. So they're on a monster winning streak of about 10 games. Crusaders find themselves on a 8-game winning streak, so it's basically the two best sides. This is the kind of final game, you know. This is what should be the Super Rugby finals. Probably going to be a bit of a snorefest, to be honest, just because the sides are so evenly matched. It's going to be great to watch, but I don't know if it's going to end up in lots of points. I'll probably look at playing the unders there, or the Crusaders, but I haven't yet made a full decision. And then we've got the Rebels taking on the Sunwolves. Sunwolves are monster underdogs there. Look, they're going to be buoyed coming off their win against the Stormers, but considering how the Reds played against the Canes, I think 23.5 points is maybe a little bit too high. I can't back either side of that spread. I can't back the Sunwolves straight up. 9-1 is just not attractive enough for me, so I'm going to be giving that one a miss. Then we've got the Jaguares against the Sharks. Now this is a game that should be pretty good. Jaguars are 6.5 point favorites. I do like that 6.5 point favorites, or that 6.5 point line. They have been playing bloody well. You know, they're playing at home now. The Sharks have to travel to Buenos Aires or Argentina. And the Sharks, while they are finding a bit of form, I don't know if they're going to have enough to actually beat the Jaguares at home. Especially with the line at 6.5. It's a very nice line. It's the kind of line that you like. And this match is taking place on Friday night, guys, at 10 o'clock. So it's some great rugby to watch. It's nice and early for a Jaguares game as well. And just looking at the head-to-head, you know, the Jaguars haven't beaten the Sharks ever. Not that I could see. They seem to be their bogey team in the last 2 years. Even at home, they've lost close games, very close games to the Sharks. So I'll probably look at taking the Jaguars minus 6.5 and a very small kind of cover bet on Sharks to win 1-12. I know I could end up losing both of those to say that the Jaguars win by let's say 3 points. You know, I'll lose both. But there should be some good value on taking the Sharks 1-12 there as well. So I'll be taking 2 bets. My bigger bet will obviously be on the Jaguars on the minus. Alright, then on to Saturday, where we have a few decent fixtures. We've got the Chiefs versus the Waratahs. Can we trust the Chiefs at the moment? 8.5 points, a little bit big for my liking. I don't trust them enough to cover that, but at the same time, I don't trust the Tars to cover 8.5 either. So I might be looking at playing an unders on that, but yeah, we'll have to see what transpires with some more of the lines closer to the weekend. Then we have the Reds versus the Highlanders. I'm not getting involved there. I don't trust the Highlanders at the moment. The Reds are also a bit of an enigma. The line there is Highlanders minus 12.5, a little bit big. Not overly keen on that one, guys. Okay, and then our next game is Bulls versus Brumbies. This should be quite an interesting one. I don't really rate the Brumbies too highly at the moment. I think the Bulls are going to give them a pretty good run for their money. 8.5 is the line, just a little too high. I'm willing to take it though. I think they'll beat the Brumbies. I'll probably take a little bit of the 8.5 and some 1 to 12 on the Bulls there. Look, the Bulls are coming back from Argentina. They do need to pick up a win in this game. The Brumbies are ripe for the picking. I don't think they're going to stand too much of a chance against the Bulls. They might keep it close, which is why I'll take a little bit of the 1 to 12. But I'm not getting overly involved. Then our last game is the Stormers against the Lions. Now, this is a bit of a tough one. Lions coming off a big win against the Brumbies. A little hop, skip, and a jump down to Cape Town to take on I want to say struggling Stormers side, because they haven't played very well, and they're also coming back from Argentina. So I can completely understand why the Lions are favourites there. The Lions have also had pretty good run against the Stormers in the last couple of years. They've won the last 3 games. And, the Stormers at home lost to the Chiefs in a tight game. I'm thinking unders in this game as well. I do like the Lions on the minus 4.5 point handicap, but I'm going to be looking to take the Lions to win and the unders. I want to see what odds come out with that. Betway have some pretty good odds on it. I've been betting with them quite a bit recently, just for some of those more exotic lines. And I've been finding it pretty decent. So I like the Lions to win there, but I also like the unders. And that wraps up the Super Rugby for the week. We don't have too much in the way of football. The Premier League wrapped up. We've got the Champions League final coming up, which is obviously going to be an absolute cracker. It's Real Madrid against Liverpool. But, guys, it's one of those matches that I'd prefer to watch as a neutral. Saturday night, get a couple beers, that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to be having a bet on this game. It's so difficult to call. I want to say overs, but the overs line, as you can imagine, is utter trash. I mean, it's like 5 to 10 for over 2.5. So there might be some value playing the under here, as crazy as it sounds. Under 3.5 is about 15 to 10. Then again, that's also not great value. It looks like the bookmakers are expecting exactly 3 goals in this match, which I don't blame them for. Both teams to score, also one of those kind of bets that are very poor value. I mean, you're getting 2 to 7 or something like that on both teams to score. What I do like is maybe first half overs. I think that could be quite a lucrative sort of bet for this. There should be early goals in this game. I don't see it being it's going to be cagey. It's not going to be a kind of cagey old school soccer game. I think they're just going to go at each other, and then because that's the style that both sides tend to play and tend to favor. So I definitely see that one being a bit of a all-out attack game. So there's going to be goals. How many goals? I don't know. I really can't. I can't pick a winner there. But as I said, if you can find some decent value on, let's say, first half or something like that, then maybe look at that. We've got some interesting bets here on World Sports Betting, who I'm currently looking at. And they've got first team to score Real Madrid 15 to 20 and Liverpool at 21 to 20. I think that's a pretty good price on Liverpool to score first. Perhaps a draw followed by another draw. It goes to penalties. You never know. Those kind of things are also worth taking. First half, there's not much value on the draw and bets, but I think if you're feeling brave, maybe take over 1.5 goals half time, 11 to 10. I think that should be quite a decent bet. And if you think it's not going to be goals, then go with the under. That kind of thing. And yeah, guys, so that wraps up our sports betting part of the show. We're not going to be chatting about too many other things when it comes to best bets. I do want to quickly talk about the World Cup coming up. We've got loads of content on BSB about the World Cup. We've got everything from top scorer previews to outright betting tips to group betting to wooden spoon. I don't want to say anything you can think of, we've got it, because there is so much betting available for the World Cup. And we've really done I want to pat ourselves on the back for putting out so much content, but at the same time, there's still so much more content that I would like to put out for the World Cup. It's just time and also, finding value, because I don't want to put out rubbish that people will, not read or just not follow. So you can find that on the Best Sports Betting homepage. Just go to bestsportsbetting.co.za and you'll see on the button icons, you'll see there's one on the right called World Cup 2018 Betting Guide. Give that a click and you'll see everything that's World Cup betting related. Then as for some of our latest posts, just a quick explanation. We've got a latest post. It's the first button on the top left on BSB. So it'll say welcome to Best Sports Betting. Then you'll have a latest post button. You can click on that to see all our latest stuff. We don't put all of the latest things up there, but the important things like Roland Garros, which is going on at the moment, we've got up there. We're going to be having betting tips up every couple of days for the French Open. So give that a look. We've also done a few reviews on ESPN, Igori Sports Betting Network, which is up there. We've got Sport Pesa, who I don't think are our biggest fans at the moment. They should be up there somewhere. So give that a look as well, guys. And thanks for tuning in. We should be back to normal programming soon. Otherwise, it will be me again, same time next week. Guys, have a great one. Before I go, let me give you my best bets. I'm going to be going with... it's a tough one to choose a best bet this week. It's nice to have Simon to bounce the best bets off. So I would not want to leave you guys hanging without a best bet. So I'm just quickly going to go over some of my notes. And I think I'm going to be going with the Jaguares on the minus. That's going to be my best bet for the week. Guys, have a good one. See you next time.
Thank you for listening. And don't forget to visit our site, Facebook and Twitter pages. Let's go make some money.